I am so happy with how this looks for the Rangers. We have a pitcher, Jack Leiter, and he is a dude.
And while I do think his hitting is worse than Derek Jeter, it's not that far off.
You're not mentioning 2006. You can mention the other people, not 2006.
Oh, just because I bought the best soap doesn't mean your room's going to be clean. It just leaves it to where I don't believe that the Canadians had a shot.
I really don't like the Clippers just kind of sending it in when they're like...
Hi, this is Kelly Forbes with the Dallas Stars, and listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. We are going through the top 10 at a great pace, as now we've already done starting pitchers and catchers. Now we go to first baseman, Austin.
Yeah, catchers, I'd say was easy. This one's a little bit harder than catchers, in my opinion. I don't know how you felt about it. We also, like you talked about before we recorded, there are some inconsistencies with what position we consider some of these guys to be. So don't expect, if you're a Giants fan or even a Red Sox fan, and you expect Devers to be here, he's not considered a first baseman for us. He played almost all of his games at DH. So we consider him designated hitter. He'll be on the designated hitter list, but he's not a first baseman, so he's not listed here. If there's any other players that you think should be in top 10s, please put it in the comments. But there is a chance that one of those players will appear on a different list.
Yeah, and that was Devers. To me, was kind of a guy. He's a great hitter, and of course, he's going to be on a list. But I had to check with you. I was like, wait, yes, he's going to be in the top 10, but is he going to be in this one? And we both agreed not. This one, I don't. It felt like these were all big names. There are some newcomers, but it wasn't too hard for me. I think a lot of it was there was some. If you talk about Rafael Devers in that list, just kind of the thought of him being as a first baseman, there have been some guys that have shown up on the first baseman list where it's like, wait, I associate you like Bryce Harper. I associate in right field, but he is a first baseman.
Yeah. Harper is a first baseman. He is on my list. I'm assuming he's on yours as well. But who do you want to start with? I do have two honorable mentions. Do you have any honorable mentions?
I do not have any honorable mentions, so you can go with yours.
So, from what I understand, Munetaka Murakami will be playing first base. We don't know how good he's going to be, obviously. He's a player that came over and is now playing for the White Sox. He'll be playing some third base as well, but I think he'll be playing mostly first base. He's one of mine. I think that is a player that is going to be very good, but how good, I don't know. I don't want to put him in my top 10 just yet. I'm holding off on that. And then Wilson Contreras for the Red Sox, former Cardinal, also is an honorable mention. I think he's a very underrated player. And last year, if he was on a better team, may have got a little bit more of the limelight.
Yeah, those were Murakami. I didn't want to put him on the list yet because of his first season coming over, but I expect him to do well. Same thing. Contreras, he moved from catcher to first baseman. Now he's on the Red Sox. I do think he's going to get more attention given that he is on the Red Sox, but he was a consideration as well. Just missed it for me. I'll go into my 10 where I have Michael Busch from the Chicago Cubs being on my list. He hit 261, but had 34 homers, 90 RBIs, and 140 WRC+.
Okay. My number 10, you may have him on your list, may not, is Josh Naylor for the Mariners. He had 20 home runs. He had a 128 WRC plus, 3.1 F4, and was a very good player, almost batting 300. He had a lot of stolen bases, 30, and they're all stolen bases, basically just timing the pitcher. It's really weird. He's not the fastest guy in the league, but he times steals very well. And it's really cool to watch if you want to watch a slow guy getting steals and how steals are not just a speed thing. And maybe this is also because of the increase of the bag size, but and also the other rules regarding steals and stuff like that. But I think Josh Naylor was a big reason why the Mariners were one game away from a World Series appearance. And I think that he'll be a very influential player for Seattle this year.
Yeah, he is someone I do have on that list. I will get to him in a little bit. I'll just go into my 9, which is someone you're very familiar with, and that is Ben Rice with the New York Yankees. A tough rookie year, but last year he batted .255, but hit 26 homers, 65 RBIs and had a 133 WRC plus.
Okay, so I like sometimes having a first baseman that can hit the ball, even if it's not really the hardest. My number 9, because we're on 9, right? 9, right?
Yep.
Is Jonathan Aranda. Aranda's played a lot of positions, and previous seasons, but this year was basically just a first baseman. He was an all-star, had 3.1 B or 2.5 B WAR, but he hit 316 and had almost a 900 OPS. His OPS plus was 146, and while he didn't hit that many homers, his batting average carried, and that's a very big thing for a team that does like to hit for average. Another important thing, his D WAR, which is something that is very hard to come by for a first baseman, was actually positive, which is hard at 0.2. So he's a good fielding first baseman, hits over 300, and I think he's a top 10 first baseman this year.
Yeah, he was someone that did not make my list, but you make an argument kind of the traditional first baseman is someone that gets a lot of home runs, a lot of RBIs, but could be also someone that gets a lot of hits and gets on base a lot. So I'll go into my 8, which is Christian Walker. He was fantastic with the Diamondbacks. Now he is with the Houston Astros, and he is someone that I think started to put it together in his second time. As I think first year, is it? I think it's his second year with the Astros, right? Or is it his third?
Last year was his first.
Okay. And I think with the Diamondbacks, he was fantastic. Wasn't too great, but had some moments where he was heating up. And I think with being in a new place is going to make him be better, as this was he developed well with the Diamondbacks and then moved to Houston for a great offer. But I think having a 1 year under his belt there, he'll do better this year.
Okay, he did not make my list. Part of the problem was he had such a poor year last year, but I understand it. My number 8 is Ben Rice. Ben Rice can also play catcher. It's not his primary position, but he can. And this is the second guy for the Yankees that is on this list. I think there will definitely be at least one more, maybe 2 more. We'll see. But it depends on how we do some of the outfielder ones. But Ben Rice was an amazing player for us. He did have some bad stretches, and I do think that's part of the reason why I only have him this low, because his potential high was significantly higher than this, and his ability to hit the ball in big moments was definitely notable. But WRC plus 1.33 and an F4 of 3, he was good, and I do think that he will have a good season this year. I just don't know if it'll be consistent. He'll either have high highs or low lows. It's kind of the problem with him, but he also, his big moments are big, and he was a huge reason why the Yankees were as good as they were last year.
Yeah, he's an up-and-coming player, which is why I had him on my list. Now we're going to 7. Josh Naylor did it with the Mariners. You talked a lot about what he has already done, but I'll add 295 while hitting 20 home runs and 92 RBIs. So a guy that can hit for power as well as hit for contact, and he had a season of 128 WRC plus. So that is why, to me, he deserved to be at the 7th spot for the first baseman.
I think my 7 is your 10. Was your 10 Michael Busch?
Yes.
Okay, so we just flipped those because that was my 10 was Josh Naylor. So 34 home runs, 90 RBIs, 140 WRC plus. Michael Busch is my number 7, and I do think that his ability to hit as well as he did was kind of out of the blue, and the Cubs looked like a very good team this upcoming year, adding Bregman, even though they lost Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting what they do with the Cubs, but we'll go into my 6, and that's where I have Bryce Harper. He's a fantastic hitter, but he's this low to me because I'm still, like I mentioned before, I'm still not used to him being at first base, and I do think defensively is a concern for him. So hitter-wise, he's one of the best first basemen, but you have to consider defensively, and that is why he's at 6.
Yeah, my number 6 is once you hit 6, I think there is a gap between 6 and above and 7 and below. 6 is Matt Olson for me. I know that may be a little bit surprising, but he kind of had a down year last year. He played all 162 games and only had 29 home runs, which for a baseman isn't all that much. And he wasn't really hitting for average either at 272. He is a good fielding catcher, which is a plus, and playing games does matter, and that does help your team a lot. But I don't necessarily know if he's going to have the best season. If he misses any games at all, I think that could detriment to the team because he's not having the high productiveness that you maybe want to see out of a first baseman. And he's also not hitting for average. He is a good fielding first baseman, but it's one of the positions that you don't have to have a great fielder, even though he is one of those guys.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm a little bit higher because defensively he is fantastic, and I do believe he has a bounce back this year. But I'll go into my 5, which is Pete Alonso. He gets the edge over Bryce Harper, and I would agree. After between 7 and 6, to me, that's a different group. So we can it could be a fun debate about where you want me to put Bryce Harper. Pete Alonso to me is a great first baseman. Had a down year with the Mets, but I think he should do well with the Orioles and bounce back from that, even though he is moving to a new place. So that is why he's at my 5.
Well, Alonso, I think, had one of his. I mean, last year was the bounce back year. The year before that, he only had 34 home runs, 88 RBIs, and only batted 240. This past year, he batted 272, career high. He had 38 home runs, which isn't as close to a career high, or it's not really even in the field of a career high. But he plays 162 games, has 126 RBIs, the second most in his career, and he was hitting for average. He had his second highest OPS of his career. He had his third highest OPS plus, and was a great year last year. So I do have Alonso a little bit higher than you. My number 5 is Bryce Harper. Yes, he missed some games. He only had 2 less home runs than Matt Olson, who played a lot more games than him, 31 more games to be exact, or 30 more games to be exact. I do think Bryce Harper kind of has a bounce back here. They're going to need him to play a little bit better, and as long as he can play 140, 150 games, I think the Phillies will be very happy.
Yeah, and he's kind of branded himself with Phillies, even though he was with the Nationals to start his career, but he has been fantastic. That goes to my 4, and that's Nick Kurtz. Burst onto the scene last year and I want to say he did win the AL Rookie of the Year, correct? Or was it Wilson? Yeah. Okay.
No,
Nick Kurtz. Kurtz was fantastic with his year, winning AL Rookie of the Year. So I could see if you have him higher because of just how great it was and what he did for the Athletics and just how he did it. But the guys all above him had longer time and still great years, and I expect the same years from them. So that is why Kurtz is at my 4.
Yeah, I also have Kurtz at 4. He's a player that I think will continue to improve this season. He did only play 117 games and had a lot of home runs. Was a major player for the Athletics, and he is a guy that has signed an extension. Is going to be a part. Or wait, he signed an extension, right?
He's under an extension.
Yeah, so he's going to be a major part of the Athletics as they try to move to Vegas. There's still that whole debacle about whether or not they're going to be able to do it because of all these other problems. But whether they move there or move somewhere else or whatever happens, Nick Kurtz is a big part of their future, and I think that he's going to be an amazing player this upcoming season. I do have 3 guys above him. I'll go into my number 3 really quickly. I have Pete Alonso. This is the guy I talked about a lot right there a little bit ago whenever you mentioned him, I think at 5. But Alonso is a player that had a bounce back year this past year, and I think he's going to be very invigorated going to a new team. He's going to, if he can get hit for average and get back a little bit more of that pop, he will have an amazing year this year. He didn't hit for as many home runs as he's normally used to, only 38, but again, the highest batting average of his career, a very high OPS, and a player that should help the Orioles if Adley Rutschman and a lot of these guys that played kind of poorly last year get back to who they were previously. We'll hopefully see the Orioles back in playoffs.
Yeah, I will make a correction. Kurtz is not under an extension, but he's under team control until 2030. He's the only one not to have an extension yet. But I'll go into my 3, and that's Matt Olson. And he is someone to where we already talked about him before, but I expect him to have a bounce back year. He filled in incredibly well for Freddie Freeman when Olson went from the Athletics to the Braves. And yes, he did have a down year, but in general, I feel like like the Braves had a down year. So Olsen, I think, will surge and be better next year or this upcoming year.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more down on him because of how poorly he played. But yes, that's part of it's because of the Braves. Who do you have at year 2?
My 2 is Vladimir Guerrero. He was fantastic last year. And as he signed the extension, of course, he was a major part of how the Blue Jays got to the World Series. And he's really filled out as an offensive first baseman, also does well defensively.
Yeah, you and I agree. 1 and 2. We're gonna have the same 1 and 2. I do have Vlad at 2 and Freddie at 1. It's not because of the World Series, I swear. But Vlad has played amazing, but he's also had down years and down stretches. Freddie is so consistent that I know whenever he's at his worst, it's pretty close to when he's at his best as long as he's not injured. And his consistency at fielding and at the plate, big hits, big moments, even small moments, he's making huge plays. And the Dodgers are going to have a lot of players in the top 2 of positions as we can continue through. And that's an obvious fact of just the amount of money they spent, but also how good these players are. There's nothing to say that Vlad can't be the best first baseman this upcoming year, but I'm going with the guy that I trust a little bit more because of his consistency and the fact that he is as good as he is. And that's been his consistency ever since he won the MVP in 2020 with the Braves and his entire tenure with the Dodgers.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman is fantastic. And yes, Vlad can push. To me, it's going to be a tough hill to climb, barring a major setback from Freeman, because I just think of him as the best first baseman for all the reasons you said, and has really been like that with the Dodgers. That's what made it so shocking that they signed him, and then, of course, as you mentioned, they just added more and more, and that led to them winning back-to-back World Series. And it is funny, Vlad is at 2, Freddie's at 1, but it is, as I agree with you, it is not because of the World Series. It's just how you look at the player.
Yeah, completely true.
So let us know your thoughts in the comments on our top 10s. Do you have a disagreement on a position? We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.